If you have an injury that affects your mobility, then clearly your ability to probably get work, your ability to move around and do a lot of things is affected, which eventually impacts your employability. It impacts a whole bunch of things. Maybe you need to be in a wheelchair versus a crutches versus a cane. Maybe you could never drive a car again. So the physical piece can be large depending upon what you end up not being able to do. And quite often it plays into motivation. Especially the males, that it's very important for a male to be able to move around and do things, be active, be athletic. You take an athlete, you take away their ability to play their sport, it's huge. Huge. The mental is, and you ought to appreciate that all three of these are interdependent, okay? So again, with the mental one, you got to say, what was your pre-injury mental attitude? Did you have a mental disorder pre-injury? I mean, if you had bipolar pre-injury, you're likely to have bipolar after, right? But you need to kind of go back and find out from somebody what this person was really like. Did they tend to get depressed early? Were they anxious people and all that? Because maybe a lot of what they're showing, they had it pre-injury. In the mental, the support is key. If you got a good support system, and whether it's a caregiver setup or whether it's a family unit or whatever, it's worth the time, investing the time to keep that together. If you don't keep that together, then other things will happen. And finally, with the mental is the challenges are financial. Again, if certain mental issues don't allow you to work, certain physical ones don't allow you to work. And in my case, for example, my wife and I had been married for 1 year. We bought a new house. We both had really good incomes. My income dropped by 85%. We were looking at, if we hadn't made a move the year before, we're looking at losing our house. But what we did the year before, because we had good incomes, is we paid our mortgage weekly. And we dumped a lot of cash on it every anniversary date. Now, why did we do that? I have no idea. I guess because we didn't want to pay the interest at the bank. But at the end of the day, it really saved us because we did not lose our house. But if we hadn't done that, it'd be different. And then the emotional one, I think people need to understand that you're going to have good and bad days. You know, you're going to have days where you're going to feel wonderful, the sun's up and it's bright and it's really not. And you're going to have days where it's beautiful outside and you feel crummy. And that is normal. And that's probably because of the other two things, right? And it's how you handle days like that that become very, very important. I think the other thing is to stop looking at your losses and try to focus on what your gifts still are. And that's a tough thing it's so obvious. I can't believe it, but it is mentally really tough for people to do that because it sounds like they're writing part of themselves off, but they're not. And the other thing I think by looking at your assets is you become enabled. You can suddenly say, well, I can still write, I can still read, maybe I can write. Put it on a piece of paper and write down what you can still do. I don't want to see the list of what you can't do. And then let's look at that and how does that fit into what I see myself becoming or doing in the future? Rather than having this list of I can'ts, and therefore you never will do these things, let's look at the other piece. And to me, it's such a simple process, but it's a huge leap for people to do it.